Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be reviewing an interesting game that I watched on Fox Go server between two professionals, Shibano Toramaru 9p and Jihyun 9p. The reason why I found this game interesting is a lot of the decision making in this game is quite easy to follow actually, as opposed to a lot of professional games you might watch, and yet there's still a lot of cool moves that we can take a look at. So without further ado, let's get into the game. I don't remember the exact time settings, but it was definitely 1 minute main time and either 3 15-second overtime periods or 3 20-second overtime periods. Shibano has the black stones and Lee has the white stones. And so after this Shusaku diagonal, usually you'll see an extension, but it's totally okay to go elsewhere. So that's what white chooses. And the idea with this move is we're trying to over-concentrate black into the corner. Like if black keeps adding stones, we can see that black's stones in the upper left are getting very over-concentrated. Black's corner, while it is getting a little more solid, is only gaining a few points each time, whereas white's stones in the center, if white were to continue, would have a lot bigger effect. So that's why nowadays you'll see people ignore, which that's what black does. So white blocks, and white chooses this variation, and this variation we'll see makes sense when white has the ladder in the upper right. Why is it important to have the ladder in the upper right? Well, if black chooses this variation, where you cut at D2, after this, and the usual move is to play here. There's some other variations you can choose, but this is the most common move. It's very convenient for white to be able to capture this stone at D6 with a ladder. And even if black can play a ladder breaker, something like this, white will fix, and now white can threaten to play a move like C14 at some point, or because I'm a lot stronger on the lower left, I could even attack the lower side somehow with that kind of move, or maybe H2 directly to threaten F2. So even though black gets stuff in the upper right, white might be playing a little faster, might be a little quicker on this board. So when you can ladder this, it helps a lot. Now let's imagine white didn't have the ladder. Let's say white had this. Well, it's still playable. You just have to play a different move, this one. And this move is still playable. The idea with this move is black could choose to capture, but in a lot of cases it's not worth it immediately, because after this it's gote. You have to add an extra move now because the net doesn't work, and usually you don't want to do this, but white can just Atari through like this. And why this works in this case is because black's corner is actually a lot weaker than white's stones that white just pulled out. So black would need a move, and so black only gained a little bit, whereas white could go elsewhere or do whatever white chooses. But that is an option for black, and so if white has a ladder, obviously being able to ladder is good. And in some cases, black can even fight later, and we'll get this kind of fight going on like this. So there are complications later, whereas if you can ladder, it works pretty nicely for you. And so usually even if you can get a ladder breaker like this, you have to come back and fix the bottom side as black. So therefore white could even respond to your ladder breaker or do something else completely. So that's why it's playable for both sides, but usually if your opponent can ladder this, like in this case, since white can ladder this, you probably don't want to give your opponent the ladder. So that's why in this game, black chose this variation, Atari, and then black pushes here. Black can see white's starting to get a potential on the lower left, or on the left side, I mean. So black bumps here. And the idea is, okay, D2 and A5 are Mii. If white captures here, I can capture D2, and vice versa. White fixes, I will go here. So white just ignores as well. And then black pincers up top. And when white extends along the right side. That's the side that both sides are on, right? Both colors. Black has stones in the upper right, white has stones in the lower right. So getting a stone here, very beneficial. And then black cuts. And so again, the idea for this cut is if white just fills, black will extend. And again, I don't think white will be in huge danger, but it'll be a fight. It'll be a fight. And black's thinking that the stone at c14 and potentially even the stone up top is going to be helpful. This stone might be a ladder breaker for black. So in the game, white chooses to take and allow black to Atari. White Ataris. Co-threats. Early on, there's usually not a lot of co-threats, but in this case, white was able to find one. This is quite big because obviously you're breaking through black's corner. So black answers. So white takes the ko. And then white Ataris. Connect for the same reasons as before. So black answers. And then black Ataris. Or sorry, white takes. And then black fills. And then white cuts. So the question is, why is white not playing the ko? So the idea is white is kind of playing the ko without continuing the ko, if that makes sense. Right now, white is looking for ko threats. So if black answers, then white will continue the ko. But the idea is white doesn't want to spend a move. Like let's say, I'm not sure the exact best way to start to continue the ko. Like white can connect here, and it'll be, assume ko threats are taken. Like we'll see that white will be able to fight this ko. You can see it's a lot of ko threats though. But white could fight this ko, or white could go here to continue the ko as well. So I think this one's better, because even if you can capture the lump of stones, assuming black gets something on the upper left, that's probably bigger. But regardless, white needs ko threats. So before white continues the ko, white looks to make more ko threats. So that's why black just takes, because black knows, oh, white's looking for ko threats, so I need to answer the ko. So white gets to Atari. Black descends. White plays there. That's a very big move, especially after black is starting to build the left side. This move is very big because now it's even a ladder breaker now. Black is threatening to pull out e16 while, as you can see, build the left side on a large scale. So that's why white goes there. Black Ataris, pushes, and then cuts here. And look at the whole board here. Where do you think the biggest move is on this board? Where do you think the biggest move is on this board? The fights died down in the lower left. White got some compensation for the ko. Where do you think the biggest move on the board is? Well, white thought the biggest move was simply f3. So if you were thinking f3, but I may have changed your mind, then you should stick to your instincts. Because yeah, this move looks pretty small, but if white's trying to build the bottom, this move is necessary. Like even if white gets a move to try to build the bottom on a large scale, there's really bad Aji with clamp, with peep, maybe in some cases even playing the direct weakness in white's shape there. So it's just good enough to fix here. Just fix. And now black has to come in the middle. And so now black can't look at any of white's weaknesses because white's solid on the left side and white's solid on the right side. Whereas again, if you try to build it on a large scale like this, well, you're leaving weaknesses, which actually makes it easier to come in. So yeah, I actually really like this move. Really like this move. And one thing I tell my students a lot is prioritize good shape. So again, this move might feel slow and it is gote, but you need to prioritize good shape. So black covers, of course. And now it's white's move. So where does white go? White asks up top, of course. And all white is doing is asking black, what do you want? What do you want? Because black can go here and this kind of variation. White can live in gote in the corner, but black gets some thickness on the outside. So if black wants this, black could do this, or black can do what black chose in the game. And the whole idea for this is white is just asking black, what do you want? White attaches, and a lot of people's first instinct would be to immediately just cut this. But in the game, black just fixes. So the question is, why does black just fix? Well, in this case, if white connects, how solid is white? How solid is white? Not very, right? White is very weak still. And so black would be able to attack white on a large scale because now white is heavy. White is now invested in these 5 stones. So instead of blocking here, which white could play here, and then cut, and let's see, what's the best way for black to fix? You go here, you can extend. Like you can see, there's going to be a lot of problem for black. Yeah, even directly might work. Like there's just a lot of problems in black's shape. And even if black can capture white, white's going to get so much thickness on the outside, which is the whole idea. So black says, no, I'm not going to cut. I am just simply going to fix my shape. So right now, white knows, oh, this isn't a good idea to save these. So what does white do? White goes elsewhere, and white plays L6. And L6 is a very creative move. I love this move. How they found the spot specifically, it's hard to say. I will say when you're looking to play kind of these big moyo moves, playing stones that are on the same line as each other have a lot more strength. So because L6 is on the same line as F6, they have a better connection. Once they start wobbling, once they start getting on separate lines, their strength wavers a little bit. So when you have stones on the same line, it's a lot stronger. And so if black were to cover here and cut these 3 stones off, that would be great for white, because it would be like white went to L6 and black covers at P16. So white got a free move basically. And you can see if that upper right's going to be black's anyways, white didn't really lose much. So this is a very nice sequence. And black comes straight in, which black's very brave. Black's very brave. But black is actually looking at weaknesses. And black's looking to jump. So white covers. And directly you would like to go here. But after white pokes and then connect, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult because black might think, oh, I can cut here. But those 3 stones have lost a lot of meaning, and this would actually just solidify white's bottom. So black wouldn't be happy just taking the 3. So black plays here, still looking at weaknesses, but now looking at some co-ish moves here. And so if white separates black, well, black's just going to be able to extend anyway. So what does white do? White says, okay, I'll get rid of your extension. It's still a ko in the lower side if you want to connect. So yeah, white's very patient, and I like this play by white. But black says, okay, here's my 2 stones on the bottom. Since I still have a ko to live, I can treat them lightly. So black goes elsewhere. Black goes elsewhere. And there should be no surprise what white's next move is when you already have a pincering stone here. You have stones on the outside. Where do you play? Kick. Very obvious next move. So the question is, what is black's next move? Because if you just stand up, yeah, you're going to get attacked pretty heavily. So again, depending on the board state, you have to play differently. So because white is much stronger in this scenario, even in some cases this is considered lighter, but even then white can just surround you. So what does black do? Black just caps. White covers, black hanes, and white cuts. The point of this hane is right now white has to decide what are you going to play. Because maybe in some cases you want to extend up here because the Satari is so big, or can be big, I should say. But 50 moves down the line, 100 moves down the line, obviously you can't change your decision. So black's making white decide right now what is more valuable to you before white has the full information that white might need. So that's why now black hanes. So that right now black knows what white's going to do in this scenario. So black plays here. I like this because a lot of players might go here because it's like, oh, I am taking away white's eye. But again, depending on the situation, you have to play differently. All of a sudden, black is heavy. These 3 stones are very heavy. So just like the lower right, black says, no, I'm going to stay light. I'm going to back off a little bit. White fixes, and then black extends up top. This makes sense. Now white activates the 3 stones, and black says, okay, now I'll cut. And then white plays here. Yeah, this move is big. If white does something else, black can Atari through, and not ko. Not ko. But instead, well, because if you do the ko, it's actually not ko, because counter Ataris, and you don't have enough liberties to fight this ko. But black can actually just descend, and even though white gains a lot in the lower side, black can capture that stone at R9. So that's why white spends a move to play here. Black jumps, and white jumps again. When white is playing in black's area, white is thinking to stay light, and that is so important. Black jumps down, and same thing for black. Black was in deep water in white's lower right. So black is thinking to stay light. That is so important. So depending on the board state, you have to play differently. So white plays here again. Look at white's shape while threatening black's large knights. Hey black, if you go elsewhere, I'm gonna separate you. So black jumps here again. Look at the shape here. The shape is so good. This is what black was planning, by the way, when black went here. Black was looking to play this knight's move. So white turns. Again, white has to take care of this upper left. And then black comes back to fix. So look at black's shape. Oh, shape is so important. This is why my big 3s for every move. Shape, sente, efficiency. And so if you can make good shape, or if you can destroy your opponent's shape, that is such an important skill to have. So, yeah. The white just jumps. Black pincers. Hane once, and then attach. Hane. Extend up. Peep. And again, you would like to go here, but that's heavy, so where does white go? White plays here. So again, look at white shape, and even look at black shape. When you are kind of inside your opponent's area, you have to play differently. You have to think differently. So black stones on the right side, none of them are connected. They're still, black could give up a few of those stones and still be okay. Black's not super invested in any of them. Same thing with white stones here. So that's why I love this game. There's some crazy moves like L6, ignoring the bottom side, some things like that, but there's a lot of easily graspable concepts that are really exemplified in this game here. So I really like this game. So white Hane's here, or makes tiger's mouth, starting to cut off black from the right side. And black goes here, so this move might look weird, but the idea is if you do nothing, like maybe you connect, white will Atari, which is for sure Sente, and then Goblin's Nose. And this is so painful because after this, you might think it's Ko, but actually it's black's just captured. There's no way to save these stones here. So that wouldn't be good. And even if you descend, you still can't block, and now white has broken through. And now the upper side is potentially weak. So okay, let me Atari. Well, even if you do that, I'm just going to block, and you still have that weakness. There's still the weakness of cut. And there's a Ko, but white has Ko threats, so black will just take. And then the same issue. So, instead of giving white any extra moves, like O14 helps white shape, just play the move. that fixes all the weaknesses. Now, the interesting thing about this move is, what was the weakness of black's shape here? It was N16. So what move does black play? N16. So your opponent's key move is my key move. So white plays here. Again, this move might look strange, but if you do nothing, let's say, I don't know, something here. This move is a peep, obviously, but if you connect, then I will jump across. And this is exemplifying my point of why you shouldn't Atari necessarily at here, especially if you have to just fix anyways, because now you can't cut. But by going here and something like this, this straight up cuts. There's no way for white to fix. You go here. After cutting here, we can see black and Atari here. So instead of playing a move like this to fix, white imagined black has already peeped here. And so the question for white is, how would I fix once black peeps? Once black pushes through, how would I fix? After this, how would I fix my weakness? How would I fix my weakness? Well, there's a few options, right? You could go here, you could go here. There's a lot of options. So that's what white's doing. White has imagined black has already peeped and has fixed. So that's why white decided on this. Because if black peeps, now I can fix 014, and then I've already fixed my push and cut. So kind of fixing weaknesses before they're even there is a very good skill. Because again, if you fix your weakness like by doing what here, well, that doesn't really help you much, right? Black could peep here and then surround you even. So this is the most efficient way to fix the weakness. This move would also work, but this move starts to connect back to the bottom side and start to surround the right side. So black stands up. Black finally decides to do something about these bottom side stones. White just stands up again. That move is super painful. Like, you would like to take away the base, but after this Hane, black is basically just connected. Yeah. It's hard to defend against E1, F2, cutting at E5, so there's a lot of weakness. So white just prioritizes good shape. And if you look at this board, look at white's shapes. Where is white heavy or have bad shape? Nowhere. And even black, besides maybe the lower left, which is a little nasty to look at. Besides that, black shapes are also very good. So I like this game because it really exemplifies how important good shape is. Even if you have to play Gote like F4 to fix your shape. So shape is very good. Very, very good. So keep that in mind when you're trying to make decisions, I guess. So black has to extend, attach, black bumps, but white's able to bump down first. I got ahead of myself there. And Hane. So black says, I'm going to live. And then white plays empty triangle, empty triangle. Yeah, the point of R10, by the way, is now that white has separated black, there's a weakness at Q10. So black's trying to make some eye space there. So we get double empty triangle. Very nice. And then peep, connect, and then cut. And black has a few choices here, but black chooses Atari and then cover. And so we get a ko. We get a ko. This is a flower ko for white, though, because if white loses this ko, white doesn't lose that much. Sure, white loses those stones, but like locally, that was going to be black's area anyways. But if black loses it, black loses a lot. So black has to be careful. So black peeps. So white has to fix. So white cuts. And then white even Hanes. Which is telling me, at this point, white's saying, I don't even need the ko. I have a good enough attack on the right side here. So white's just reducing black, not letting black get an eye here for free. White takes once, though. Black pushes. Attach. Really like this move, because this is threatening to cut off these stones in the center. So black hanes once, and then finishes the ko. So white cuts it off. Black turns, white just extends up, and now it looks like we're going into endgame. So black reduces this area, tries to do it lightly though. See these jumps here? So white just answers though. Peep. And then shoulder hit. Yep, play there, push through. Yep, just some endgame stuff. White peeps. And then forces black to come down. Sure. And then shape point here, right? This is table shape. So just taking away the shape point. The other thing with this move is if black gets this move, these stones now are starting to get isolated. So not only is white destroying black shape, but also helping this lower left. Black clamps, white just connects. Black turns. So that's why white pushes through to connect while separating black. Look at this black group in the center here. It's close to alive, but black does need to be careful. So black bumps there. White plays at the shape point. And this is a very cool way to continue the game, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about after the fact. I don't want to spoil what happens. But black has to peep to try to make an eye at J4. White blocks. Yes, push. Push again. Again, black needs to make this eye here. Push again. White just covers. Hane. Plays a shape point there. Poke. And then black connects here. But then white pokes at the eye. And then plays S12. Now black has one eye at Q11. So black plays here. And then white Ataris. And black resigns. So I love what white did here on the bottom, because white's saying, oh, I want to attack the right side. So by playing here, I force black to play these moves. Which, what do? They help me surround the right side. Right? All these moves white's playing, all they're doing is helping white surround the right side. So that's why I really like what white did here. So yeah, and black can live. Like if black just goes here, black's alive. But I'm guessing black thinks if white cuts here, that's too much. Because black loses all these stones here. So that's my guess. And with how big the lower right is, I could kind of see it. So yeah, that's what happened in the game. Black ended up dying on the right side. But yeah, I really like this game, again, for all of the decision making based on the board, right? If my opponent was heavy, or if my opponent was strong, I'll stay light. If I'm strong, I'll play good shape that attack for profit. So I really like this game because it really exemplifies a lot of the proverbs and ideas that I like to talk about and that I like to prioritize. But yeah, this was this game between Shibano Toramaru and Jihyun. If you have any questions about this game, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see everybody in the next video.